So it is already May 29th of 2024, and there's ongoing problems that are only worsening over time for not just Bob Iger, but also for the board of directors and even those that are very high up at different divisions over at the Walt Disney Company like Marvel Studios, and even Lucasfilm, such as Kathleen Kennedy and Kevin Feige. They're all mixed up in this drama as well. This is Mike Zero. Subscribe if you're new and like this video to see future updates. You can also follow me at Mike01. I thank you also very much for the great and kind support. So one thing about all of these different divisions that are not only going through cost-cutting measures by Bob Iger, but various levels of firings per division, that's adding up to thousands upon thousands of employees getting laid off over at Disney, and it's not a good image for 2024. It's most certainly not a good sign for 2025. Now, focusing on Bob Iger, we know that this man will never admit failure. He will never admit any level of concern when it comes to his view of Disney in both the short term and the long term, and it only gets worse when it comes to how the agenda over at Disney gets exposed repeatedly, time and time again, throughout all of this year already as it is. Now, what's interesting about this has a lot to do with Bob Iger's stance on the general public and how they view the Disney DEI agenda, everything related to ESG funding by BlackRock, Vanguard, and State Street, and the concept of gender swapping and race swapping of many different characters that are very much embedded in pop culture, and how that has created endless backlash from many customers, or now I would say ex-customers of Disney. A lot of people are beginning to leave Disney Plus, beginning to actually unsubscribe from that Disney Plus service. But what's interesting about this is that on top of everything here, with both Lucasfilm and Marvel Studios already going through serious cutbacks by Bob Iger and the Disney heads, one major development now involves more to do with Bob Iger and what he had to address in response to the ongoing backlash related to the concept of gender swapping and race swapping that Disney fully supports for already established characters. Iger delivered the following: "As CEO, I believe it is my responsibility to remain transparent in our effort to how we plan to gravitate toward a wider, more global audience with our many brands. I would like to address a level of pushback that has come to our attention that claims the Walt Disney Company supports agenda-driven strategies with our products, and how we engage in culture wars, which are completely false, and a part of a narrative that views our support for altering well-known characters in our many brands and delivering them to different genders and ethnicities. We don't view this as any level of an agenda at all, with what we have done for characters like Snow White, Tinkerbell, and Ariel from The Little Mermaid, just as a couple of examples. To those who view this and claim this as a form of Disney engaging in a culture war, I can't stress this enough, but we find that to be not just irresponsible to the Walt Disney Company, but also to our loyal customer base, who are hopeful about our characters to become more familiar to different groups and communities around the globe. That is our inspiration here at Disney on how we aim to provide different iterations of already established characters with our many Disney animated characters that we will continue to plan to convert to live action that will cater to different genders and ethnicities. Our support to the many communities, genders, and those that come from different backgrounds and ethnicities, and how we aim to provide familiar characters to them, should not be mistaken as any form of an agenda at all. Many people I find love to use the word agenda. I don't think many really know exactly what that means when they say it. It's better to research the importance of DEI before making such an assumption based on our goals for the next few years of where we want to bring the company. What we have done with characters like The Little Mermaid and Snow White, for starters, we found to be a great tool in garnering new customers and fans for the many Disney products that we hope to only improve. We are also preparing to provide the same strategies with our many Marvel projects that we have in the pipeline, and Mr. Feige couldn't be more excited with what we are about to do with already established characters as well in that division that will have the opportunity to become more familiar with those that have different ethnicities and backgrounds. Again, I would like to make this openly clear. This does not and will never translate to the Walt Disney Company falling into a culture war in an attempt to drive away customers. So, let me say one thing, guys, before I move on about what Bob Iger is spewing yet again. So basically, he is on the same robotic response this is not an agenda, but it is an agenda. Alright, he's admitting it, but he's also not admitting it at the same exact time. And this just goes to show you how out of touch with reality Bob Iger is, or how much he is willing to lie. It's either or a combination of both at this point. But when you look at what's been going on with Disney's full support of gender swapping, race swapping characters, this is exactly why they got mocked so, in such an epic way by South Park Studios, by Paramount Global with the Panderverse special that debuted in late 2023. The fact that that was able to really call out Disney on such a grand scale, and to really kind of wake up a lot of people that may have not realized what Disney was doing with those characters, and how they do plan to continue to do that with other Disney live-action classics, or should I say Disney animated classics, getting converted, as he would like to put it, into live-action. It goes to show you that they will not back down on this agenda. They may say things like, oh, we're about to quiet down the noise, and that Disney's never about this or that, but it's all nothing more than a way to kind of string along the shareholders into the following year, hoping that they can string them along long enough for the next 5 years, essentially. So on top of everything here, alright, to move things further, he goes on to conclude, that's not our goal here at the Disney company. I am also proud to announce that we are actively investing in new hires that understand DEI more effectively, that will result in a better product for both film and television related to our many Marvel projects and Disney live-action projects as well, that will focus on new iterations of familiar and established characters that hold a successful history. You guys notice how he likes to use the word iteration, right? In other words, basically redesigning characters that are gender swapped and race swapped, and that really are going to do nothing but drive fans away, that have been loyal for quite a while, and that have grown up, or grew up I should say, with these characters over the decades. I mean, you can see what just happened with Snow White 2025, you can see what happened with The Little Mermaid and Tinkerbell, and what they plan to do, by the way, in Sword in the Stone, and even other remakes on the horizon, such as Pirates of the Caribbean. I mean, this is just getting ridiculous at this point, and a lot of people are beginning to bail on Disney+. It's getting worse and worse. Every single 3 months, you begin to see an ongoing decline when it comes to how many people are going to the Disney Plus platform to check out things like Star Wars, to check out things like Marvel, stuff like that. That's why the recent Marvel shows have not been doing too well. So what's interesting about this is that there's a lot of things going on with Bob Iger. He will never admit the truth. He will never admit what's really going on at Disney. Even though we all saw that leaked meeting that actually went viral about a year ago. I don't know if you guys remember this, but basically that overall meeting that took place openly admitted that they want, a certain percentage of those that come from, yes, different backgrounds, different ethnicities, and different, beliefs and stuff like that, to kind of just shoehorn it in to those products, to those films and television programs, instead of focusing on a story. So overall, guys, drop a comment below, fill me in below in the comments what you all have to say about this, and if you guys did enjoy the content for today, make sure to drop a thumbs up on this video to support the channel, and I will catch you guys later.